Episode 4: The Fall of Ayutthaya, the Birth of Thonburi, and the Heroic Deeds of King Taksin. When Ayutthaya falls, the end of the Golden Age of Siam. April 7, 2310 was the end of the Ayutthaya kingdom, which had lasted for 417 years. The kingdom that had been the center of politics, economy, and culture in Southeast Asia had to collapse completely after the siege by the Burmese army led by King Ayutthaya and later King Mangra. The flames of war burned the capital city. Temples were burned and destroyed. Valuable treasures such as the Tripitaka, golden Buddha images, and ancient books were moved or burned worthlessly. The nobles were divided, the common people were afraid, and merchants had to flee for their lives from the invading army. At that time, the land of Siam was torn apart, with no center of power. No one dared to save it. But from the ashes of the ruined kingdom, a man emerged who would later be given the royal title of Maharat. The warlord of the East, King Taksin the Great. Sin, a young man of Chinese Thai descent, was the son of a Chinese merchant in Ayutthaya. He was previously a military officer who was famous for his bravery and intelligence. At that time, he held the position of Lord of Tak, who oversaw the western border towns. During the crisis of the fall of Ayutthaya, the Burmese surrounded Ayutthaya. Sin, who is known as Praya Wachiraprakan, or Praya Tak, decided to lead a group of about 500 soldiers to break through the siege and head to Chantaburi in the east. This decision was considered a risky one, but it turned out to be the foundation for national salvation. In Chantaburi, Praya Tak gathered many commoners, merchants, and Chinese people to train a new army. It took only a few months to form an army under a solid leadership, equipped with weapons and strong morale. The battle to save the land, Thonburi, and the victory of the nation. When he was ready, Praya Tak led his army from Chantaburi to the central region. He fought many battles, including the capture of Rayong, Chonburi, Chachengsao, and Thonburi from the Burmese forces that were stationed there. In November 2310, Praya Tak successfully recaptured Thonburi, completely eliminating Burmese power in the region, and began to unify the surrounding territories. Less than a year after the fall of Ayutthaya, Praya Tak proclaimed himself king under the name of King Taksin the Great and chose Thonburi, located on the west bank of the Chao Phraya River, as the new capital in 2311. Thonburi, a capital without walls, but full of the heart of restoration. Thonburi may not have the magnificent palace of Ayutthaya, nor the strong fortifications of the old capital. But the most important thing at that time was the will to preserve the nation. Under King Taksin's leadership, he faced challenges on all sides. The war with Burma, which was not yet completely settled. The suppression of various factions that were vying for power in the provinces, such as the Chao Phraya Phang faction, the Nakhon Si Thammarat faction, and the Chiang Mai faction. Conflicts in the royal court and the nobility from various networks. However, in just 15 years of his reign, King Taksin was able to unite the Thai nation to become one successfully, restore Buddhism, which was almost extinct after the war destroyed temples and religious scriptures, send monks to invite the Tripitaka from Sri Lanka to revive the Theravada way of life, promote arts and culture to return, such as building new temples, supporting artists and royal craftsmen. Promote the economy and trade, especially maritime trade, as Thonburi was an important connection point between the central region and the Gulf of Thailand. King Taksin, the idealistic warrior king. King Taksin was not just a warrior, but also a leader full of strong will to unite the country and uphold the Dharma. However, throughout his reign, he had to face stress, pressure, and hardships in the royal court. Towards the end of his reign, rumors began to emerge about his unstable mental state, such as his quick anger, severe punishment of courtiers, and religious conflicts. Change of the throne, the end of Thonburi. In 1782, a group of nobles and generals led by Praya Chakri, Chim, planned to change power to maintain national stability while King Taksin was removed from power, and the end of his reign was